Good morning, everybody. So we are on day 25 of Module 1 in Wit and Wisdom. Today should be our last day with the book Skytree. You're going to need to make sure that you have your knowledge and response journal and your vocabulary journal for today, okay? Sorry, dropped my book. So make sure you have both of those, and I'm going to go ahead and share our screen so we can get started.
Welcome back, friends. I'm Sue Sabella, your Great Minds teacher, and I'm so excited to continue to learn and grow with you. Let's see what we need for today. Today we'll need Skytree, Assessment 29, the focusing question task, your journal, and a pencil. Pause here to gather what you need, and then just hit play when you're ready to continue.
Okay, so you're not going to have your own copy of the focusing question task. It'll be uploaded onto your Google Classroom Drive, okay?
How does Skytree show the cycle of seasons? What do you already know about the word cycle? You've probably heard that word before, and especially if you've conducted or did a scientific investigation. What I'd like you to do is to take out your journal and jot down the word cycle and what you think it means. You could also draw a picture if you're not sure of the definition, but you have a picture in your mind of what cycle might look like. Draw that in your journal or jot the definition. Pause here to do that work and then just hit play when you're ready to continue.
Okay, so you need to have your vocabulary journal out. Okay, this is when you're going to need your vocabulary journal. We are on page 14 of our vocabulary journal. You guys added the word evidence last week in our journal. Today we're going to add the word cycle. Okay, cycle. And then I want you to draw a picture quickly, just a quick sketch, or tell me what you think the word cycle means. And when you are finished, you may push play to continue the video.
Today, we're going to investigate the meaning of the word cycle and also how that word cycle is connected to the message, the important message in Skytree. As we dig back into Skytree together, we'll want to keep this question in mind. What is the important message in this text? We'll be exploring the first section of the text and the last section of the text to help us think about the important message. Let's take a look at the first 2 pages of Skytree. Before I read the text out loud, look closely at the painting. What do you see? What does the tree look like? Tell your learning partner, or tell me.
So what does the tree look like? What do you think is happening here? Like, what season is it? What's going on? So I see lots of green leaves. I see lots of green grass. I see lots of green bushes. That's what I notice and what I see in this picture.
Now listen closely to the words or follow along in your own book. Once a tree stood alone on a hill by the river. Through the long days, its leaves fluttered in the soft summer breeze. Pause here to read these words again to yourself and also think about what's happening at the beginning of this story. Just hit play when you're ready to continue.
Okay, so Miss Sabella wants you to think about the words that are going on right here on this page. So I know that it says long days. We talked about this yesterday. Long days makes me think that it is summer, okay? Because I know that in the summer is when we have the longest amount of daylight. It says the leaves fluttered in the soft summer breeze. Well, that right there tells me that it's summer. Leaves are fluttering, which means they're still attached to the trees. They're not falling off the trees, they're still attached.
Now let's take a close look at the last 4 pages of Sky Tree. Look closely at the tree. What does it look like at the end of the story? Now listen to the words from the story. You can also follow along in your book. The old snapper crawled out of the mud to lay her eggs on the warm hillside. The tree's leaves uncurled in the spring sunlight, and the birds returned to build nests for their young. How is the beginning of the book similar to the end? What things are the same? Pause here to do some powerful thinking, and then just hit play when you're ready to continue to the last section of the book.
Okay, so some things that I noticed that are similar is there are a lot of green leaves on the trees, a lot of green grass, there's a lot of green bushes. What do you notice that is the same between the beginning and the end?
The tree stood on the hill by the river. Once again, its leaves fluttered in the soft summer breeze. How are these words similar to the beginning of the story? What are you hearing that's the same?
So if we look at these two pages side by side, this beginning page said that the tree stood on a hill by the river. It says the same thing on this page. The tree stood on the hill by the river. It said its leaves fluttered in the soft summer breeze. And over here, its leaves fluttered in the soft summer breeze. So the same thing is happening at the end of the story that happened at the beginning.
I'm going to put both pages side by side. Pause to help you think about this question. How is the beginning of the book similar to the end of the book? Just hit play when you're ready to continue. You just did some very powerful thinking about the similarities between the beginning of Sky Tree and the end of Sky Tree. By thinking about those similarities, that can start to give you an idea about the important message in this text. What is this text trying to teach you? What are you learning by thinking closely about the beginning of the text and the end of this text? Pause here to jot down your thinking in your journal, and you might think and jot for a while. Just hit play when you're ready to continue.
Okay, so in your journal, on page, in your knowledge response journal now, we're going to go to page 42. Okay, page 42. And you need to write this question, page 42, on the top of the page. What is the important message in Sky Tree? And I want you to answer this question. What do you think the author was trying to tell you? What does he want you to learn through reading this text? So you're going to write and tell me, what is the important message in Sky Tree? Okay, so I want you to do that right now. So you're going to pause the video, answer this question, and then hit play when you are ready to move on. And you are going to take a picture of it later and upload it to the Google Classroom assignment, okay? There's the question again if you need to copy it.
In order to understand the important message in Skytree, it is very important to understand what the word cycle means and to be able to picture what a cycle is in your mind. We're going to investigate the word cycle and take a look at the definition of the word cycle. So at this time, I'd like you to pause the video so you can grab your journal and your pencil, and then just hit play when you're ready to continue. When you thought about the word cycle and did some jotting in your journal, you may have drawn a picture, or you may have written down some words that you were using to help you define or tell others what you think the word cycle means. We're going to take a look at the definition of the word cycle, and we're going to take that definition and put it into our own words. The definition for cycle is a series of events that repeat.
Okay, so we're going to go back to our vocabulary journal and we need to add that definition, okay? You drew what you thought a cycle was and you told me what you thought a cycle was, but we need to add that actual definition. A series of events that repeat. Okay. So in your journal, you need to have written the definition, a series of events that repeat, for the word cycle. Let's go back to our video.
Please write this definition in your journal. Pause here to do that, and then just hit play when you're ready to continue. A cycle is a series of events that repeat. This definition is not the easiest definition, so I really have to think about what it means. An event is when something happens. We know that when we think about the elements of a story. A series means that there's more than one event. And repeating means that it happens again. So if I close my eyes and I picture a series of events that repeat, I'm picturing things that happen and then they happen again. That's what a cycle is. It's a series of events, so it's more than one event that repeats itself, which means it happens again. Now that we understand what the word cycle means, I want you to think about this important question. And remember, you're in charge. You can pause to think, or you can pause to talk about this with a learning partner. Ready? Here's the question. How does the word cycle connect to Skytree? Pause here to do some thinking or some chatting, and just hit play when you're ready to continue.
Okay, so let's think about it. How does the word cycle connect to our story of Skytree? What do you guys think? What is going on in the book Skytree that makes the word cycle come into play? So we know that in the book Sky Tree, we're seeing the cycle of the tree. We're seeing how it starts with summer, then it goes to fall, then winter, then spring, then back to summer. So not only with the illustrations, but also with the words, it's showing us the cycle of the tree.
It's definitely time for a stretch break. Take a break and then just hit play when you're ready to continue. Now that you've had a chance to look at the similarities in Sky Tree and also to think about the word cycle and what it means, you're ready to answer the focusing question. How does Sky Tree show the cycle of seasons? Pause here to grab assessment 29, which is the focusing question task 4, and your pencil. And then just hit play so we can review the directions together. The directions tell us to write an informative paragraph with change to answer the focusing question. That question is, how does Sky Tree show the cycle of seasons? Include the following in the paragraph response: a topic statement, at least 3 sentences with evidence, the words first, then, and finally, and a conclusion. Today, we'll be completing step 1, which is recording evidence on the evidence organizer, and step 2, writing your informative paragraph with change. As we use the evidence organizer to gather our information for our informative paragraph, it's very important to keep the focusing question in mind. So I've placed that at the top of my organizer. And that's a strategy that you can use too. Jot down the question at the top, and it keeps you focused on what you're gathering. The focusing question is, how does Sky Tree show the cycle of seasons? So as you're rereading Sky Tree to build or gather evidence for your informative paragraph, keep this very important question in mind. We are going to work on the first 2 columns together, and then you'll complete the rest on your own with your own copy of Sky Tree. Ready? Let's go. Before I even begin reading the book, I remind myself of the question, how does Sky Tree show the cycle of seasons? So as I'm reading, I have a very specific purpose in mind. I need to focus on the cycle of the seasons and how this book shows or illustrates those cycles. So I need to pay attention closely to the words as I read, but I also need to remember to look at those paintings, the illustrations. How is this book showing me the cycle of the seasons? The first page says, once a tree stood alone on a hill by the river. Through the long days, its leaves fluttered in the soft summer breeze. I hear evidence that I can include in my informative paragraph. I heard that leaves flutter and that there's also a soft breeze. I made sure to put this in the first column because this is the beginning of the story. And also on this page, I saw the word summer. I use bulleted notes and not full sentences because this is just an organizer. I'm not writing my whole paragraph here. As I continued to read Sky Tree, I hear the word autumn, so I know I am gathering some evidence here to show the cycle of seasons during autumn. I gathered evidence of change, that leaves turn color, and also leaves fall. You've got this. It's your turn to continue with the evidence organizer. Be sure to look for those keywords, winter, spring, and summer. And also remember, you're just gathering evidence about the cycle of seasons in Skytree. Stay focused on that question. You'll pause here to work, and then you'll just hit play when you're ready to continue.
Okay, so in your knowledge and response journal, you need to be on page 43, okay? 42 was the question, what is the important message of Skytree? Page 43 is going to be our evidence organizer, okay? It's going to look just like the one that Miss Sabella has, except you're going to write it. Okay, there we go. Okay, so if you need to pause the video right here so that you can copy this down, please do that. So we did the first two sections with Miss Sabella. Okay, she did the first set of summer, and she did autumn. So you should copy down what she has on her chart, which is leaves flutter. I'm going to go ahead and put that on here. Leaves flutter and soft breeze. So leaves flutter, soft breeze. So that's what she has for summer, okay? Then in the autumn, she wrote leaves turn color, and she has leaves fall. Okay, so what you are going to do today for the rest of the class period is you are going to open up your digital copy of Skytree, and you are going to continue reading the book, and you're going to look for evidence about what happens to the tree in winter, what happens to the tree in the spring that shows evidence of the cycle of seasons, and then how does it end? How does it show summer again? Okay, just put like maybe 2 things for each one. Okay, so this is your main assignment for today, is to finish this graphic organizer, because we cannot go any further in our writing until you finish this. Okay, so I know that Ms. Sabella said that we were going to do both parts of the focusing question task today, but we can't until you get that chart finished, okay? So that is your main activity that you're going to do today, is finish that chart, okay? We're going to finish our video, and then I will go back over everything that you need to do for today.
Remember, take as much time as you need. Pause here to review your evidence organizer and compare it to this evidence organizer. Are you seeing things that are similar in each column? Is there something that you'd like to borrow and add to your columns? Review this with a learning partner or on your own, and then just hit play when you're ready to continue. Before you write your informative paragraph, it's always a good idea to rehearse out loud using your evidence organizer. Remember to start with a topic statement. Remember to use the signal words or the linking words. And then remember to add a conclusion. Once you've rehearsed a couple times, you'll be ready for the final task. So pause here to practice out loud, and then just hit play when you're ready to continue.
Okay, so once you have finished your chart, and yes, you may use some of the things that Miss Sabella has used on hers, but I want you to try to find it on your own first, okay? I want you to then go back and verbally talk your way through how Skytree shows the cycle of the seasons using the evidence on your evidence organizer. And then we're going to work on writing our paragraph tomorrow.
to write your informative paragraph. You have all the evidence that you need. You'll be writing your informative paragraph in your journal, and then you probably saw the check mark in the corner. That means that your teacher will take this opportunity to check in with you, to see how you're doing with your writing, and also how you're doing with gathering evidence. You've got this. Just pause here to work and then hit play when you're ready to continue.
Okay, so remember, we're going to work on this tomorrow, so we're just going to keep going.
Thanks to your careful reading and your powerful thinking, you have a deeper understanding about cycles and the cycle of seasons in Skytree. Share that knowledge with others, and I will see you again very soon.
Okay, so today for work, for your classwork today, the first thing that you need to do is, hold on. The first thing that you need to do for class today is you need to go take your question set. You have a question set today that you need to finish on Skytree. Let me show you where it is at. Okay, so if you go to, there. If you go to our Google Classroom, go to classwork. This is Wit and Wisdom Week 2. It is right here, Module 1, Question Set 10. So you are going to click on that, open it up, and you are going to take your question set. And then here is Focusing Question Task for Skytree. Okay, so here is the actual question set that tells you what you're writing about and what your criteria are. And then here is the picture of what your evidence organizer needs to look like on page 43. We did the first 2 columns together with Miss Sabella. You're going to need to finish getting evidence for winter, spring, and summer. And then once you are finished with that, you're going to take a picture of your page 43 and you're going to upload it for me so that I can see that you finished your work for today. Okay, because you can't go any farther tomorrow and write the story if you do not have your evidence organizer finished. All right, okay. So you have a question set to finish, you have an evidence organizer to finish, to take a picture and upload for me. And then you also need to finish page 42. What is the important message in Skytree? All right, and I don't have that one up here for you yet. I'm still working on it. So you have 2 things that you're going to take a picture of today. Page 42 and page 43. All right, so you're going to have a question set, 1 question to answer, and then finish your evidence organizer so that we can do our writing activity tomorrow. All right, so that is all that I have for you today. It's a big day, but tomorrow will be easier because you will just be writing. All right, so have a great afternoon. I'll see you later.